You don't have to be a camping expert to have a great time outdoors. All you need is an RV or motorhome. And these vintage RVs look super cozy and fun. So here are the top 15 incredible vintage RVs and motorhomes. Number 15. Shasta Airflyte. Shasta is a solid and trusted name when it comes to RV and motorhome production, and they managed to deliver as always with their Shasta Airflyte back in 1961. When you think of vintage campers, this one should immediately come to mind. It may be small, but its incredibly sleek design and colors like Matador Road, Seafoam Green, or Butternut Yellow, complemented by the white paint job on top, should dial in some serious nostalgia. Just ask your dad about this one and we'll be sure he can tell you all about it and his glory days. Luckily though, the folks at Shasta decided to put this back on the market as a limited edition special in 2015, so the model may not be as rare as it once was. The interiors are minimal, but it will get you through your camping trip with no problems. There's a small kitchen that will meet all of your basic cooking needs, so there's no need to heat up a can of beans at the campfire, and there's a table big enough to fit you and 3 of your closest friends. All you've got to do is tow this up to the truck and you're good to go, and you'll definitely be the envy of everyone on the highway along the way. Number 14. Riverside Retro Toy Hauler. Riverside added a fun RV to their arsenal that's fully in line with the retro look. Their retro toy hauler has plenty of vintage-looking color combos to make you feel like it's the 1970s again, but still give you an up-to-date experience. It's not a bad deal. It even comes with 2 floor plans to choose from, just in case decor really is your thing. The first option is known as the 820R floor plan. It measures 20 feet 6 inches in length. That's a pretty decent size for an RV, and believe it or not, it's the smaller of the 2 options. The bigger comes in at 27 feet 4 inches in length and can carry just about whatever you're hauling back there. The cargo compartment can even be converted into a dining and sleeping area when you've unpacked at the site. There's even a bathroom. So if doing your business outside is the worst part of traveling or camping, well, you can rest easy with the Riverside Retro Toy Hauler. It's a pretty cool RV. Number 13. Gidget Teardrop. Don't let the name of this entry fool you, because the last thing this cute little trailer is going to do is make you cry. The Gidget Teardrop is an absolute classic when it comes to RVs and captures a look and style that will never be replicated. And whether or not that's a good thing, it may be up to you, because beauty is in the eye of the beholder. The Gidget Teardrop may be small, but the front slide extends and nearly doubles the amount of cabin space. It's a neat little trick for something that looks like it was owned by the Brady Bunch. And with all of that extra space, not only can you throw all of your stuff back there without thinking twice, there's even a full outdoor kitchen to get your meals going when you're out on the open road. It's an awesome retro find that even comes with a solar panel on the roof. And if you feel like hanging out inside, that's cool too, as the Gidget Teardrop has a skylight, so you can enjoy those sunshiny days even when you don't feel too energetic. Number 13. Riverside Retro RV. Riverside RV is another solid choice when it comes to RVs, and their retro line fits the bill if you're looking for some throwback vibes. It comes with some fun color schemes and is super lightweight, so it's the perfect little RV to haul behind you on the highway on just about any vehicle. And while the exterior has the vintage look, things get a little more modern and a little more luxurious when you open the door and peek inside. You're looking at a stainless steel sink, stove, microwave oven, and a small refrigerator. It's got everything you need to keep from going hungry in the great outdoors. There's even a decent-sized bathroom and a shower, sink, and everyone's favorite, a toilet. The Riverside Retro RV also offers a ton of storage space for when you're not hanging out inside. It even comes with a complete bike rack for the more adventurous traveler. It's a surefire way to get that retro look without having the problems of a retro model. Number 12. 1937 Hunt House Car. Now we're taking things back in time here. J. Roy Hunt is considered by RV aficionados as the father of the modern-day RV, and the 1937 Hunt house car really put him on the map. Hunt originally worked as a car designer. One day in 1937, he decided to purchase the chassis of a Ford truck. He hired a specialist to create a fuselage in some 16-gauge steel and flush-fitting hatch, and topped it off with a multi-panel windshield. What was Hunt doing here? Well, he ended up creating the world's first RV with a working shower. Having a shower in your RV may sound like it's not a big deal, but back in 1937, it was probably the greatest luxury afforded to the lucky owner of the Hunt house car. There was even a disappearing toilet inside of the RV that folded into the wall. So nowadays, you're not going to find any sort of mass-produced version of the Hunt house car, but you can catch a glimpse at the RV Museum and Hall of Fame in Indiana. It's without a doubt one of the coolest vintage RVs ever made. Number 11. 1949 Highway Palace. Believe it or not, but Australians know a thing or two about big rigs, so it should come as no surprise when they unveiled the Highway Palace back in 1949. This was known as a fifth-wheel big rig, and is a custom-built caravan towed by a Fargo truck. It was so big that it needed the fifth wheel on the toe between the truck and the RV. It's not messing around. The RV itself is so big that to tow it, they had to make a special 9-inch tow ball made from military equipment. The 1949 Highway Palace demanded respect back in the day, and certainly earned it. When you walk inside, you're met with a plush dining area, a spacious kitchen, and a big bedroom and bathroom at the rear that came equipped with hot and running water for a bathtub. Then there was a large wardrobe and chest of drawers and a mirror in the bedroom, and a leather-covered club seating area that easily fits up to 10 people. Why would anyone need something like the Highway Palace? Well, if this is what someone is driving around in, then you can only imagine what their permanent residence looks like. Number 10. Wawa 180 Sport. The next little guy on our list is a real trooper. The Wawa 180 Sport is a golden oldie, made almost completely out of wood for recreational use on campsites. And since it only weighed about 660 pounds, it could fit just on about any car. And your automobile didn't have to be the most powerful on the market either to lug the Wawa around. It was the perfect little caravan for just about everyone. On the inside, there was room for a small kitchen. Nothing too crazy, a refrigerator, sink, and a gas cooker. But don't like sleeping in a sleeping bag? That was no problem at all, because the Wawa 180 Sport also came complete with a twin bed that could be converted into 2 small benches and a table. It was a pretty solid deal and was made to look like a home away from home. And it could even fit up to 6 people. There was even a little solar panel on the roof for some extra oomph. But the roof was probably the most underrated aspect of the Wawa, seeing as how it was again made of wood and could be folded down almost like a convertible, making it the perfect little caravan to lay down and catch some rays in without worrying about laying on a bed of rocks in the great outdoors. Number 9. 1950 Westcraft Coronado. The 1950 Westcraft Coronado takes the term retro-futuristic to a whole new level. It's almost 100 years old, but easily looks like something that could be fashioned today. And as much as it could be a piece of art, it's still a solid home on wheels. It has since been updated and refurbished, now coming with an all-new aluminum exterior and paint job and refinished materials. The updated version is also coming with a newly reinforced body, axle, jacks, and skid wheels. Step inside and you'll see the full kitchen with an oven, stove, and sink with running water and a sizable dining area for when your gourmet meals on the go are ready. There's even enough room for a couch and full-size bed in there. It's not a bad deal. If you pull up to the campsite in a fancy 1950 Westcraft Coronado, people may start running up to you with cash in hand because it has that old-timey diner car feel. It's a pretty cool look. Retro is always going to be in style. Number 8. Happier Camper HC1. Who wouldn't want to hang out in something called the Happier Camper? It sounds great already. The Happier Camper HC1 is an all-fiberglass camper with an awesome 1950s look without the 1950s hardware. It's built with an advanced modular interior system that lets you use pre-designed cubes to add a little bit of functionality that you wouldn't typically get with another camper. You make the HC1 look like however you want it to, giving you a one-of-a-kind experience. And it's got plenty of storage space in there too for when you're out on the road. It's seriously big enough to fit a kayak and can easily be towed by a smaller SUV and cars without any issues. Well, it may look like it, but this ain't your dad's old RV. It's also big enough to fit 2 living spaces, a bathroom, and a small little kitchenette, and gets its look from the popular canned ham campers. The Happier Camper HC1 also fits about 17 gallons of fresh water, which should be more than enough for a fun weekend getaway with or without friends and family. Number 7. Winnebago Brave. Sometimes bigger really is better. And if you don't want to tow anything while you're cruising down the highway on your way to the campsite, then you may as well go with the Winnebago. The Winnebago Brave is an awesome Class A vintage-style motorhome that's fun and big enough for the whole family. Really, this thing is absolutely huge. You're looking at a full bathroom with a working shower, space for a queen bed, a loft above that, fresh water, pantries, wardrobe closets, a dining area, a sofa bed, a pedestal table in the living area, and of course, space for the TV. Wow. And when it comes to motorhomes, Winnebago is without a doubt a household name. They've been doing this thing for a long time, so their Brave model is a fresh new take on a classic. The Number 6. 1969 CJ5 Jeep Camper. Good luck ever finding this one on the road, because as totally awesome as the 1969 CJ5 Jeep Camper is, it may as well not exist anymore. Part of their Jeep Great Escape campaign, the CJ5 Jeep Camper was simply a Jeep Gladiator with built-in slide-in units. The slide-in could fit the actual Jeep itself into either bed cabs or the luxury stand-up units. So if you were buying this thing back in 1969, then get ready to spend some serious cold hard cash. But it truly is one of a kind, and one of the coolest looking entries on this list. Much more like a modern truck camper though. The Jeep Camper extended over the front seat of the car to make room for the main overhead sleeping area. And it could fit 2 people above the CJ5 cab and another 2 in the makeshift bed after folding down the dining room table. It may not have been the most glamorous abode, but when you're out there roughing it with a Jeep, maybe you don't need too much luxury. The CJ5 also had water tanks, a stove, an oven, a toilet, gas, electricity, and heat, allowing it to compete with some of today's RVs out on the market. If you do manage to spot one of these for sale, get your checkbook out immediately, because this is a rare one. Number 5. 1977 Chevy Blazer Chalet. On its own, the 1977 Chevy Blazer is a pretty sweet vintage car, but slap a camper on the top of that bad boy and you've got yourself one of the top vintage RVs out there. This off-roading adventure vehicle has 4-wheel drive and a 400 cubic inch 4-barrel V8 engine. Couple that with the power steering and brakes, factory air conditioning, tilt steering wheel, and factory plaid seats, and rally wheels, and you're looking at a real winner. Okay, so maybe all of those things aren't too impressive by today's standards, but the 1977 Chevy Blazer Chalet is a real workhorse that's ready, willing, and able to get you out on your camping trip, away from it all in a flash. And in some serious style. Sure, the camper is pretty small, but when it debuted in 1977, that was relatively a normal size. We weren't working with giant motorhomes just yet, but we were certainly on our way. The camper came with a tiny kitchen, a refrigerator, and a cooktop, so you could get the job done as long as you were low maintenance. And there's room for more than one person, absolutely. This old-timer can seat up to 4 and sleep 2. And the camper features a pop-off roof that gives you over 6 feet of headroom. Number 4. 1954 Royal Windsor Living Wagon. Here, we've got a motorhome fit for a king. The 1954 Royal Windsor Living Wagon is some Art Deco luxury on wheels. And you may be saying to yourself, it may look a little outlandish both inside and out, which makes sense considering the Royal Windsor Living Wagon's owners worked with Billy Smart's circus. And for the time, the red and yellow living wagon looked pretty futuristic, especially for the post-war era. Eventually, 2 more of these living wagons would be built for the original owner's family, probably because they were all so jealous. But the original always had a sign that said number 1 on the door, letting everyone know who had the idea first. But all 3 of these living wagons were built with a row of narrow windows along the roofline to make everyone on board feel like they were still under the sun while sitting in the coolest car in town. Modifications were made over the years, but in the end, the living wagon was a hefty 42 feet long. Number 3. 1970s GMC Motorhome. The 1970s was perhaps the golden age of the motorhome and RV. In the new post-war world, creativity and innovation were at an all-time high, and so the folks at GMC made sure they were riding that train along with consumers. The 1970s era motorhome from GMC was the perfect vehicle for folks who loved to be in the great outdoors, and for the folks who were just casual campers alike. Their motorhome provided both comfort and adventure simultaneously. The head of GMC, Alex C. Mayer, set out to create the Cadillac of motorhomes, and boy did he deliver. This 6x6 road beast came with a V8 engine and drove through a 3-speed hydromatic automatic transmission using a heavy chain drive. And the rear suspension gave everyone on board a smooth magic carpet ride and came with just about everything a single-family home would have to keep the whole family happy. Number 2. Cummer FC. Today, Cummer may be known for making the British Postal Service vans, but back in the swingin' 60s, they were doling out solid workhorse known as the Cummer FC. It went through a handful of different iterations during its lifespan that lasted from about 1960 to 1976, but it never went down in quality. The best part about the Cummer FC was definitely its size. It didn't take up too much space, both on the road and in the driveway. But when you walk inside, there's plenty of room for everybody. You had 2 benches, a wardrobe, a sink tucked in behind the front cab, and the later models came with the top bed portion. The whole thing was only about 14 feet long from end to end, but when you're hanging out in the back with your feet up and the rear doors wide open, the Hummer FC felt like it went on forever. Number 1. Hanomag-Henschel F20L Orion Camper. Hanomag-Henschel was a German truck manufacturer that saw what all of their American competitors were churning out when it came to RVs, motorhomes, and all-around adventure vehicles. So in the 1970s, they thought they might try and take a crack at it. And as it turns out, they were pretty successful. The company had a short lifespan, starting things out in 1969 and unfortunately folding in 1974. But during that time, they were able to produce the Hanomag-Henschel F20L Orion Camper. And lucky for them, the intellectual property was acquired by Mercedes-Benz, so enthusiasts were able to drive this guy around for another few years until 1978. Several models managed to make their way overseas, but the Orion Camper is a pretty rare sight today. The Orion has a pretty interesting look to it, considering its manufacturing was riding the coattails of the German automakers producing vehicles for the war effort. If you do manage to see an Orion at an auto show, it's likely it's been updated, but it did offer benches and small kitchenette for anyone lucky enough to own it. Watch our Vehicles playlist for more top 15 videos about amazing vehicles. Sit back, relax, and binge watch all of our best vehicle videos.